Alrighty, y'all. So Minnesota goes on to face the 5-3 Los Angeles Chargers, and they're 10th in total offense. They're also 10th in yards per play at 5.9, 5th in passing yards per game, ninth in sack percentage at 1.75, ninth in touchdown percentage, and 12th in interception percentage. However, only 22nd in rushing yards, and they are 15th in yards per carry at 4.4, so more of like they're okay at it, just not quite doing it as much as either they want to or should be. They are 8th in third down percentage at 44.1%, 15th in red zone percentage at 61.8, and 14th in points per game at 24.9. Defensively, 16th in total defense and 19th in yards per play allowed at 5.6. Now they are second in passing yards allowed at 197 flat. They are 9th in pressure percentage and 15th in sack percentage. However, 32nd in rushing yards allowed at 161.6 yards per game and 32nd in yards per carry allowed at 5 yards per carry. So that's not just a volume thing. Teams are getting 5 yards a pop on the run game. That's kind of ridiculous. They are 29th in third down percentage at 47.4%, 18th in red zone percentage at 62.1%, and 23rd in points per game allowed at 25.1. Now their injuries, Keenan Allen, he's questionable with a knee, but he was limited all week, so I'm assuming he will be a go. Nasir Adderley, same thing with him with an ankle, but he's questionable. Mark Webb Jr., questionable with a knee. And I kind of want to say a thing here because Joey Bosa is listed on here, and he didn't start off this week on the injury report with this ankle. It showed up on Thursday, and then on Friday he did not practice, and he's listed as questionable. So he might be a tad bit closer to the doubtful than questionable. So, and then you have Justin Jackson, quadricep. He is a running back. He is doubtful. And then Michael Davis, he is a corner, hamstring, doubtful, and Michael Davis kind of plays a bit for them, so that would be kind of a blow, potentially. Now, Minnesota, they are 9th in total offense, 13th in yards per play. They are 11th in passing yards. They are 1st in sack percentage at 3.2, 11th in touchdown percentage, and 1st in interception percentage. 9th in rushing yards at 124.9. They're 8th in yards per carry at 4.6. 25th in third down percentage at 35.7%. 10th in red zone percentage at 65.2. 17th in points per game at 24.3. Defensively, not very good. 27th in total defense, 21st in yards per play allowed. They are 16th in passing yards allowed, though, at 247.0. 5th in pressure percentage at 27.8. And they are 1st in sack percentage at 8.6%. 30th in rushing yards allowed at 136.6. And 30th in yards per carry allowed at 4.8. They are 5th in third down percentage, though, at 33.7%. 26th in red zone percentage. And 17th in points per game allowed at 23.9. Now, Minnesota's injury report is a lot smaller. Bashad Breeland's questionable with a groin, Barr is out with a knee, and Michael Pierce is out again with an elbow. Now, on to my real thoughts of the game. So, offensively, it should go without saying, you should try to run the ball on this team. Like I said, 32nd in yards per carry allowed at 5 yards per carry. Now, I don't think we're going to need to tell the Vikings that, as that's just kind of what they do. But you will control the clock more that way. Limited a little bit better. That's probably the way to go. But when you do throw, I suggest you pick at Chris Harris Jr. Now, I do know that's kind of a bigger name, and people will probably be like, oh, why would you do that? He's made a couple Pro Bowls, which is true. However, this year he is allowing 75%, and his yards per completion against him, 15.7. Per target, 11.8. He's allowed one score, hasn't had an interception yet, and has a quarterback rating of 134.4 when throwing at him. So I would suggest that one. Now, I am thinking quick passing might be the way to go when they do throw, and partially because they can get a pretty good amount of pressure on you, and they kind of at 26.6% of the time they get pressure, ninth in the league. So I'm kind of thinking quick passing, some screens, kind of to slow that down potentially, especially if Joey Bosa does go and you have to deal with that problem. You don't want to leave him one-on-one. You want to chip him as much as possible and give him as much to think about as you possibly can. Now, defensively, the Chargers much prefer to throw the ball. They average 40 pass attempts per game, which is fourth in the league, versus 23.3 rushing attempts per game, which is 27th in the league. So they much prefer to throw the ball. Now, I'm very curious to see if they change how that is, strictly because the Vikings 30th ranked rush defense. But if they don't, they haven't used much play action. There's not much tomfoolery or shenanigans going with their passing game. It's a lot of true dropbacks and a lot of max protects. So they're going to have to try to find a way to get pressure. They always claim Barr is some great monster when it comes to them getting pressure. Yet I know that has to do with accounting for him. I'm not entirely sure I buy it. But nonetheless, you have to find a way to get pressure without him or Danielle Hunter on the field. Kenny Willekes was put on the COVID-19 list as well. So now Eddie Yarbrough is going to come in. So you're going to have to find a way to get that done with guys like Griffin, Patrick Jones, Wanham, and Yarbrough, not to mention Sheldon Richardson and Tomlinson on the inside. Maybe get some James Lynch or Armon Watson there as well. You're probably going to need to find a good way to scheme up blitzes for your linebackers and try to get them with free rushes. I wouldn't be shocked to see Mackenzie Alexander get involved either with this, because I'm thinking since you're going to have to bring the pressure, you're going to have to contain him, and I think where that comes out is they're going to give him a lot of weird looks, a lot of weird pressure looks, and Zimmer's going to have to go a little crazy with his blitz packages. I'm thinking that's how this will have to be done. Now, I am taking the Chargers in this game 30-27 because just as it stands right now, I have no faith this Viking team can actually beat a team of any substance. So I can see the path to victory here. If they don't adjust to what we do horribly here in Minnesota, and they decide, you know what, we're still going to throw the ball everywhere, we're still going to go for it on fourth down and whatnot, that gives them more chances to get pressure, which they've done all year, and that gives them their best chance to win. So if you can find a way to actually get home consistently to Justin Herbert and you can control the clock, there's your path to victory. I can see the path. I just don't think they'll be able to do it because I don't think this Viking offense can do enough to continue to put pressure on other teams. So, because as it stands right now, they are 17th in scoring percentage, scoring on 38.3% of their drives. They are 27th in average time per possession, which is 2 minutes and 36 seconds. And they are 21st in points per drive at 1.96. So when they start getting offensive production, that doesn't happen almost exclusively in the first quarter, then I might change my tune a bit. But until then, I'm not going to, because I have no faith they can actually do that. They've had kind of a way of like they get to this big lead, and then towards the third, fourth quarter, other team kind of tends to keep pace with them, and then they might have to force overtime, and then they lose to those teams. That's kind of what they've been doing. I don't expect this one to be any different. If they jump off to like a 17-0 lead early in the first quarter, I'm still not confident they can win the game. So that's just where I am. I'll let you know your guys' comments down below. Like and subscribing. Super helpful. And until next time, I bid y'all adieu.